Analog horror is a topic that I have become increasingly interested in, but it's never something that I've talked about on this channel, and there's a couple reasons for that. Mostly because all of the well-known analog horror series like the Mandela Catalog or Gemini Home Entertainment have all been covered to death. But I was on YouTube and I was recommended this video called 7th Tape Found. That led me to the rabbit hole that is Pontiac Robotics Archive. This series is new and is still being put out currently, so any theories in this video are based solely on the first 11 videos. All of the videos referenced and shown in this breakdown belong to Pontiac Robotics Archive and are not mine. Thank you guys so much for stopping by, and please make sure to subscribe for more content like this. Pontiac's channel was created on September 23rd, 2023. Their profile picture features what appears to be some sort of animal mascot, perhaps. Very similar to something that you would see in, like, I don't know, Five Nights at Freddy's or something like that, which ironically, or not ironically, I don't know, are animatronics themselves. In the About section, Pontiac writes, "This channel was created by archivists to archive found VHS tapes related to the interactive Android incident." The first video, fittingly titled First Tape Found, features a decaying animatronic sitting in a chair. A couple of things to note about this video. At about 18 seconds in, it sounds like a reverse voice can be heard. I recorded it and played it back, and here's what I got. Hello there. It sounds like someone is saying hello there. And then at 38 seconds in, another reverse audio can be heard. I played this one back, but I can't really understand it. So I'll play it, and if anyone thinks they know what it says, let me know down in the comments section. Utopian orthodontist. It almost sounds to me like there's sort of two audios on top of one another, and perhaps one is playing a normal time and the other is in reverse. I don't know. But the animatronic then sends us out on a distorted song. One of the things that attracted me to this video, as well as the rest of the series, is the similarities to the old video I Feel Fantastic, which at the time was a really interesting story. Second Tape Found. It looks like the same animatronic from the first video, only this time it is resting back in what looks like some sort of inversion table. The animatronic is accompanied by a dentist who uses some sort of tools to dig around in the animatronic's mouth. The dentist refers to the animatronic on the inversion table as Meg. The dentist tells Meg that they need to continue brushing and continues to work on their mouth. The dentist then accidentally cuts Meg or hurts Meg in some sort of way. We hear like a cutting sound effect. The video then ends. I thought that I heard another reverse audio at the end of the clip, but when playing it back, I couldn't pick out any sort of definitive words. Third Tape Found begins with highly distorted footage of what looks like an old newscast. It's almost as if the colors on it have been flipped to negative and then colored a certain way. The newscasters' voices are played in reverse and sped up and slowed down abnormally. They are apparently reporting on a story regarding a break-in, however. When reverse engineering the audio, here's what I was able to make out.
This night robbery occurred at America's Convention Center. A robber broke in and stole an interactive android from a utility that was in dispute. No further request to the criminals.
The local police are on high alert for evidence.
It sounds like they're saying last night a robbery occurred at a robotics convention center, perhaps. A robber broke in, and then the audio kind of becomes unintelligible. But then the woman says police are on high alert. We are then shown Meg, the animatronic again, in front of the same door that she has been. She stares at us as highly distorted music plays, and then our image begins to deteriorate. So far, our story states that someone broke into some sort of robotics building, whether it be a factory or something like that, I'm not sure. Whatever was taken must have been pretty important because, as the newscasters tell us, the police are on high alert. We then meet Meg, who is an animatronic herself. At this point, whether the dentist in the second tape is another animatronic or, someone, a human perhaps, wearing a mask and gloves is uncertain. Fourth tape found begins with an ear-piercing sound of a siren going off. We also see images of Meg as her jaw moves up and down. We then hear a voice that I attribute to belonging to the dentist character. It wishes Meg a happy birthday. During this time, we are also given a very quick freeze frame of a face, and it appears to be some sort of plaster mask. Perhaps this face belongs to Meg. I'm not sure. We haven't really seen her in any sort of lighting that has been this bright. So it very well could be her, or it could be a new character. The dentist character then lights the birthday candles on the cake. Meg's body leans forward, falling into the candles and supposedly or apparently combusting. The episode then ends. When we pick up in fifth tape found, a pair of hands are using a syringe to inject something into Meg's face. Her face has been damaged from falling into the candles in the previous episode. The episode quickly ends as the unseen character, who I perceive to be the dentist, carries Meg upstairs before dropping her. Sixth tape found sees the repercussions that Meg faces for misbehaving. The dentist tells her, "See no evil," before plucking out her eyes. They then remark, "Speak no evil, Meg," before taping Meg's mouth shut. To finalize things, the dentist then breaks one of Meg's legs. Meg is then sentenced to a timeout in the closet. Following this, the footage distorts and makes it very difficult to tell what exactly is going on, but it looks almost as if the dentist is putting weights on Meg's hands and on her torso to keep her from moving. At this point in the story, it seems to me that the dentist character has stolen Meg from the robotics convention center. He then takes her back to his home, where he treats her like one of his friends. When she starts acting out on her own, this frustrates the dentist. Perhaps he didn't know what he was getting in prior to kidnapping the robot. At the time of making this video, Seventh Tape Found is the most popular upload on the Pontiac Robotics Archive channel. It was the one that I had initially saw first. Let's take a look. video shows what appears to be a dismantled Meg sitting in someone's backyard. This is the first time that we have seen a video take place outside instead of in a home or a building of some sort. However, we are given no clues as to the context of this outside location. Meg is seen without her usual long hair, which is interesting. And at the end of the video, we get a close-up of her, and she says something distorted. It almost sounds like a laugh of some sort. I played it in reverse and found no distinct words or anything of the sort. 8th tape found shows Meg slumped over what appears to be a piano. Distortions and reversed sounds play during this time. One of the sounds is actually of a piano playing. I couldn't pick out a distinct song or familiar tune, however. There's also a voice that plays during this time, but again, I can't make out exactly what it is or what it's saying. It almost sounds like bits of a pre-recorded voicemail, like the voice actor that was prevalent during the 1990s. I don't know if that's supposed to give us a sort of a time frame or a time period that this series takes place. I'm not sure. But the video ends as Meg topples over backwards and her entire head is destroyed. In 9th tape found, the dentist character laments that Meg has been misbehaving once again. He then grabs her from her chair and throws her onto the ground before breaking her head even more. After this, we are given the sound of a woman screaming as the dentist walks around in the backyard. We are given another news report, but in Pontiac fashion, it is played in reverse. When playing it back, the news reporter tells of a house fire. The remnants of a woman were found inside, but the homeowner was nowhere to be found. Meg is then given a new face, which appears to be a clear mask that is accentuated with makeup on the eyes, lips, and the cheeks. At this point in the story, I start to question at what point in time did the house burn down? Is this in reference to the dentist and Meg being the woman found inside, or does the news report predate everything that we've seen so far? Because I kind of want to lean more towards that. Perhaps the dentist was married to a woman or was living with a woman, and for one reason or another, he purposely set the house on fire and killed her. From what we've seen so far, the dentist enjoys taking out aggression on Meg. So what's to stop him, from doing that to, say, a human? Perhaps, this abuse that he is showing towards Meg is something that has been inherent in him prior to this series, starting. In 10th tape found, we are introduced to a new Meg. She wears the clear plastic face given to her in the previous episode. She is now a mixture of robotic parts and wooden parts from all the abuse that she has endured. She seems to emit a song of some sort, something that we haven't heard before. Playing the audio backwards gave me no answers, but it sounds like Meg might be using the word slaver and robber.
Slaver, banana, go I, roots, and Iowa, robber, slaver, banana, go I.
This assumption is admittedly a little bit far-fetched, perhaps, but hearing the word robber makes me think back to the initial newscast in which the anchors refer to a robbery and use the word robber when referring to the event at the robotics center. The 10th tape ends as it begins to rain and Meg's wiring and circuitry begin to smoke. 11th tape found as of uploading this video is the last tape that we have. It certainly leaves us on a cliffhanger, though. If you've enjoyed this series so far and you would like me to continue covering it, be sure to subscribe and let me know down in the comments section below. The 11th tape shows the dentist walking around in the backyard once again before taking an object, I think it's a bat, and using it to knock Meg's head clean off of her shoulders. What's interesting is that this time Meg responds to the abuse. She seemingly throws or tosses her wooden leg at the dentist before saying, "This is your fault, Sylvester."
This is your fault, Sylvester.
We now have a name for the dentist. The footage distorts and the video comes to an end. When thinking retrospectively about this analog series, a couple of things come immediately to mind. I really enjoyed the vintage aesthetic. However, I know that it's a pretty common thing with analog horror, but I feel like a lot of, lesser known ones, and well, even some of the more well-known analog horror series kind of overdo it with the VHS effect and like the static and distortion and everything, or it's clearly shot in 4K and then they try and downgrade it to VHS in post, but it doesn't really translate. I don't know what Pontiac shot this series with, but I think the transfer to VHS looks pretty cool. Maybe he did shoot it on VHS. I have no idea. There is, I think, an over-reliance on distortion and playing things in reverse. That's maybe a little bit too overused for my taste. Putting together a non-linear story is difficult enough, let alone when all of the portions are not always in chronological order themselves, if that makes any sense. The actual robotics shown in this series, Meg mostly, they're really well done. It looks as though there are legitimately gears and machinery working inside of Meg's head. As far as the story is concerned, I think it follows Sylvester, who I've referred to as the dentist this entire video, a man who was with a woman, potentially his wife, and given what we know about Sylvester and his abusive nature, killed her in a house fire. I think Sylvester perhaps did not get enough satisfaction from abusing someone who could potentially fight back or who was so fragile. So he sought out Meg, a robot, and stole her from the Robotics Convention Center. He is now free to do whatever he wants with her with no retaliation. She's a little bit more resistant. You can break her and then build her back up again. But of course, as we've come to find out, the last part about there being no retaliation might not be the case. Whether she is sentient or perhaps cursed, all we know is that she is beginning to fight back and has a mind of her own to a certain extent. I'm really excited to see what Pontiac does going forward, and like I said before, if you enjoyed this video and this breakdown and you would like to see more of this series, please make sure to subscribe and let me know down in the comments section below. I hope everyone has a wonderful new year, and I thank you all for all of the love and support that you have shown me in 2023.